vote in anything, I'm retired, which is fine. My wife will love that. I'm not sure she's going to vote for me. But the situation was, throughout my entire first 8 years, I did every month, I did a thing like that. I would go to a library, and it would just be an open town hall meeting. I'd go to a senior citizens club. I'd go to a fire station. Now, we didn't feature any person. What we just said is, we're going to be here at like 5 o'clock. We'll be there for 2 hours. You can come, ask any questions. I'm just going to speak for a few minutes, and then. No, we don't do that. Yes, ma'am. All right, there and there. Oh, go ahead. Oh.
Sorry, let him go real quick.
Okay.
Are you willing to buck the union like they did in Wisconsin?
I actually had pretty good relationships with my own unions, because I have to deal with 4 of my own unions. I had an open door policy with them, and I would explain to them, look, here's what I can do and here's what I can't do, and they actually understood it. Now, sometimes they'd get out and say nasty things about what I was doing, but we were the first county in the state to eliminate steps, that everybody got a pay raise every year, no matter what we said, no, pay raises are going to be based on merit. So I worked with the unions and told them they weren't going to get their way, but I didn't eliminate them. The teachers union is undermining itself at this point, but they got so much power with the state when they created that whole new agency that evaluates how your county government's dealing with them, and they got enough votes on there to fight you on an issue. So it makes your school board very hesitant to fight the county government on an issue. So it's going to be tough, because they're very unionized down in the General Assembly. All right, right here.
What do you think about a commissioner who gets elected in 2010 and begins a secret government with non-elected officials of the county, along with businesses, and continues a group called 2030 to develop economic businesses in our county, and doesn't let the other commissioners know what is going on?
Well, I just have to say it's up to you guys to vote a person like that out of office. I'm not, or in office, or somebody else to take their place, whatever you would want. We are different in Harford County because we have charter government, and we have 7 council members, so we have a separate legislative body and myself, and we have to be pretty transparent on our side about what we do with businesses and anything like that, so we don't do anything that's not transparent.
Campaign manager is the one I'm talking about.
Okay, well, I'm sure you're voting a different way. Okay, all right.
Any other questions?
Any other last questions? All right, I want to thank you for being here. I realize this is not about having an endorsement, but I do encourage everybody, however you're going to vote, make sure you get out and vote. I do tell people, I learned that politics was important back in 1956. I was 7 years old. My grandmother lived with us. My parents had lived with her during World War II, and then when my grandfather died, they moved and she moved in with them. And she wanted to watch the Republican National Convention because she liked President Eisenhower. And I thought, well, all right, I'm going to watch this with her. I was only 7. We watched the whole convention. And then I realized later on, she was about 79 years old at the time, that she was not allowed to vote until she was 42 years old, because she was born in 1878. And she always said, just make sure you always vote. And so I've never not voted. Now I can tell you, there have been times when, there are 2 people running for office, and my father taught me this. He said, if there are 2 people running, don't vote for the lesser of 2 evils, because you're still voting for evil. So there are times when I don't vote for that particular office. So I would encourage you to just make sure you get out and vote and do what you believe is correct. Thank you. And one last thing, Ron George, Charles Lawler, and I had lunch back in September. We agreed we would not be attacking each other, that we would support whoever won. I can tell you that the media would go to Ron George and say, David Craig did this, what do you think? No comment. They'd come to me, Charles Lawler did this, what do you think? No comment. So after about a month, they just stopped it, because we said we're not going to attack each other.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. And David, do you have any yard signs with you tonight? Okay, if you want to bring a couple in, why don't you do that, and then whatever is left over.